The most brutal animal attack deaths ever, the hyena's ambush. Night fell heavy over the rural stretch of Chirumanzu in central Zimbabwe. The land was quiet, save for the chorus of insects and the occasional cry of livestock in the distance. Inside a small mud and wood hut, an 87-year-old man lay asleep, wrapped in the comfort of his modest home. For decades, the nights had passed just like this, simple, still, predictable. But that night, the silence didn't last. From the darkness, a pack of hyenas crept closer, their paws silent on the dry earth. To many, hyenas are scavengers, content to feed off scraps. But hunger makes predators out of them, and in the parched months of summer, when water is scarce and food disappears, desperation pushes them beyond fear of humans. The old man never had a chance. In a blur of teeth and snarls, the pack broke into his hut, dragging him from his bed. Their grip was merciless. He was pulled into the black of night, dragged, his body scraping along the ground for nearly 1,000 feet before the savagery ended. When villagers found him the next morning, the scene was horrifying. Drag marks etched a path into the earth, hyena tracks stamped around them like signatures of death. His lower half was gone, torn away in the frenzy. This wasn't the first sign of trouble. The same pack had already attacked cattle and goats in the area, leaving locals uneasy. Park rangers immediately began tracking the animals, intent on eliminating them before they struck again. Warnings echoed through the village. Stay inside at night, lock your doors, secure your windows. But fear still lingered. Wildlife experts explained the grim reality. Attacks like this often spike during the dry season. With resources dwindling, hyenas and other predators wander further, sometimes right into human communities. In fact, this was already the 60th human life lost to human-wildlife contact that year alone. Overpopulation of animals, shrinking habitats from climate change, and the lingering effects of the pandemic had only made matters worse. Tourism, once a lifeline for conservation funding, had collapsed in 2020. With money gone, rangers were stretched thin, unable to manage the delicate balance between humans and wildlife. The result was chaos and death. The crocodile. The night air in far north Queensland was heavy with humidity, the kind of tropical weight that clings to your skin and makes every sound travel. At Thornton Beach, waves lapped gently at the shore, disguising the danger lurking just beneath the surface. For two friends, childhood companions reunited, this was supposed to be a celebration, the end of a long battle with cancer. Drinks in hand, laughter in their voices, they strolled along the sand before stepping into waist-deep water. Arm in arm, they waded forward, unaware that every ripple around them was watched. The woman from Lithgow, 46 years old, wasn't fond of swimming. In fact, she'd never liked the water. But that night, the pull of fun and freedom was stronger than caution. Moments earlier, she had sent her dad a message on Facebook. "I'm on the beach. It's a lovely place. I'm having a ball." Her joy would be her final words. As they moved through the water, her friend felt something brush against her leg, something rough, powerful, alive. Before she could react, chaos erupted. The surface split with violent force. A crocodile lunged, jaws snapping shut with a power that defied belief. The woman was ripped away in an instant, dragged under as her friend screamed and clawed at the water, helpless against a predator that had ruled these rivers and beaches for millions of years. Locals knew the risks. Crocodiles were no secret in the Daintree. Signs peppered the coastline, warnings etched in red. Do not swim. Beware of crocodiles. But at Thornton Beach, that night, no sign stood in the sand. For the two women, tipsy and carefree, danger had felt far away. In reality, it had been waiting right beneath their feet. Her family, devastated, flew in from New Zealand as police launched a desperate search for her body. Rangers from the Department of Environment and Heritage Protection set 3 traps in Cooper Creek, an area notorious for croc sightings. Tourists often flocked here for the thrill of spotting one of the giants. Now, the hunt was deadly serious. Within days, they caught the monster, a crocodile, 4.3 meters long, powerful enough to take down anything it wanted. Police called it the target animal. When its stomach was examined, the truth was confirmed in the most horrifying way. Human remains, believed to be those of the missing woman, were inside. Another, smaller crocodile, 2.5 meters, was also captured and examined, but it wasn't the culprit. It was sedated, its stomach flushed, then released unharmed. For the victim's sister, the loss was beyond words, the most heartbreaking, horrendous thing her family had ever faced. The lion mauling. The sun was blazing over the South African plains, baking the dusty roads that wound through the wildlife park. Tourists sat inside their cars like little tin cans, engines humming, waiting for the kind of glimpse they could brag about forever. Out here, lions weren't behind glass walls or chained up in cages. They roamed free, and if you were lucky enough, or unlucky enough, you'd cross paths with one. For this 29-year-old woman, bursting with energy and passion, this was more than just sightseeing. She wasn't just another tourist with a camera. She had built her career on fantasy, creating visual effects for shows like Game of Thrones, but her heart belonged to the real world. She wanted to make films that mattered, exposing animal poaching, showing the world what was at stake. That mission had dragged her across continents, from Japan to Europe, Australia, and now Africa. South Africa was supposed to be 2 weeks of volunteer work at a preserve protecting rhinos and elephants. Instead, it became the setting of her final, tragic scene. The vehicle she was in rolled carefully down the dirt track, tires crunching softly. Signs everywhere warned tourists of the same rule: keep your windows closed. It wasn't a suggestion, but the temptation was too great. The golden mane shimmered in the sun, her camera came out. The glass slid down, just for that perfect shot. One click, one frame, that was all it took. From the brush, the lioness sprang with terrifying precision, a blur of muscle and teeth. In a single lunge, she reached the car, jaws clamping down on her neck before anyone could react. Screams ripped through the air as the driver tried to fight back, but the predator's power was overwhelming. In seconds, the tour operator himself was mauled, left bleeding and broken, later rushed to a hospital. The preserve had seen mistakes before. An Australian tourist had already been bitten earlier that year. A teenager on a bicycle had been ambushed by a cheetah. Park officials later confirmed the lioness wouldn't be executed. Instead, she was moved away from tourists, a decision meant to balance human tragedy with nature's instinct. The woman left behind her parents, 2 sisters, a brother, and a brother-in-law. Lions are majestic, powerful, and beautiful, but they're also wild. And in the wild, there are no second chances. Fatal shark attack. The waves rolled gently off Sydney's coastline, sun glittering across the water like polished glass. For most, it was a picture of calm. But for one man, this was his training ground. Every day, he cut through the surf with powerful strokes, lungs burning, muscles pushing, eyes locked on his goal: the Malabar Magic Ocean Swim. At 35, he wasn't just another beachgoer. He was a certified diving instructor, a man whose life revolved around the sea. He'd once served in the Royal Air Force, and now he spent his days teaching others to trust the ocean, not fear it. A conservationist at heart, he fought to protect the very creatures that moved beneath him. His life on land was just as full, engaged, preparing to marry his girlfriend. For him, the ocean wasn't dangerous, it was home. Until that afternoon. From the cliffs, witnesses saw it unfold. A shadow sliced the water below, a mass of muscle and hunger rising fast. The shark didn't circle, it didn't hesitate. It came vertically, exploding through the surface with such force that onlookers compared it to a car crash landing in the sea. A great white, at least 3 meters long, possibly even 4.5. Its jaws found flesh in an instant, pulling the man under in a spray of red. Panic erupted on the shore, shouts echoed. Jet skis roared into the surf, lifeguards rushing toward the chaos. But the truth was clear before they reached him. What they found wasn't a rescue, it was a recovery. Human remains pulled from the water, the kind of sight that silenced even the toughest rescuers. It was the first fatal shark attack in Sydney waters since 1963, more than half a century without a loss like this. Officials later explained the predator's behavior: Great whites were capable of immense travel, roaming thousands of kilometers. This one wasn't likely to linger. It struck, killed, and moved on, leaving devastation in its wake. The community grieved not just for the man lost, but for what he represented: passion, service, love, and a deep respect for the ocean. His fiancée, his friends, his family, all were left behind with nothing but memories and heartbreak. Love nature, but remember, out here, you're not on the top of the food chain. You're on the menu.